Hi, my name is Daniel, and I'm doing a refutation on Williams' claim that man portion of NASA is beneficial to the general American public and the world population at large. I am here to claim that Williams' claim is not an argument, rather it's an informational speech. My secondary claims for proving my proposition is that his argument doesn't have some key aspects of an argument according to the Brockhaus model, and according to the Tulin model, he doesn't use his specific grounds or warrants to clearly support his claim. My first secondary claim is that the Brockhaus model is an argument. The Brockhaus model of arguments is a list of 6 commonly found characteristics in an argument. It was created by Wayne Brockhaus, who is an early 20th century pioneer of argument theory. There are 6 common aspects to an argument. These include, first, an inferential leap, which is a change in belief or to deepen an existing one. Second, it's a perceived rationale, which is the logical progression of facts and accepted truths to new truths. That's basically using your evidence to make new truths and whatnot. Third, it's a competing claim, which is a statement that the persuader wants the other person to believe. Fourth, uncertainty regulation, which is a lack of evidence. When a counterclaim is brought up, due to the lack of evidence, it turns more into an emotional evidence rather than factual. Fifth, confrontation risk. Whenever there's an argument, there's always risk of either being false or having your argument undermined. And lastly, a shared frame of reference, which is how the arguer sees the world. Because of that, that's how it shapes his argument. Williams claimed that man exploration is beneficial to the general American public and the world population at large is not a clear argument, as he is missing key aspects to the Brockhaus model. William is missing first, he's missing a perceived rationale. He doesn't use his evidence and analysis to create new truths about his claim. For example, in his third secondary claim, he states that the man portion of NASA has increased the understanding of the Earth. And he states that 17 projects were funded by NASA to study Earth for weather problems and disasters, and that only manned space corps are required to mount these experiments. He doesn't explain what or why only manned space corps must be required, and doesn't use his evidence to link back to why manned exploration is beneficial to the general public. Second, he does not have a competing claim. He doesn't state a claim that is controversial due to the way he stated his claim. Manned portion of NASA has been beneficial to the general American public and world population. The claim that the manned portion of NASA is beneficial to the general American public is accepted. The question is whether or not the manned portion is as important as it seems or not. He could have fixed his proposition to fit into an argument by perhaps stating the manned portion of NASA is just beneficial as the unmanned portion of NASA. Third, he is missing uncertainty regulation and confrontation risks. He doesn't list sources that can be refuted or not. There's no risk in his speech at all, due to the way he stated his claim. Instead, he uses his information to back his argument rather than state his argument. He doesn't state why manned portion of NASA is needed for education rather than unmanned, or why brushing your teeth is connected to NASA. He doesn't state many checkable sources in his speech at all. In fact, according to spinoff.nasa.gov, which is a government website database on spinoffs created by NASA, states that indigestible toothpaste was the only thing created in relation to toothpaste. This toothpaste is foamless, so that you can swallow it in areas of zero gravity environment of space. This helps patients with disabilities, but it is not connected to the everyday life of brushing your teeth like he stated. My last secondary claim is that according to the Tulin model, which was created by Stefan Tullman, William doesn't use credible or specific evidence to support his claim, and he doesn't use warrants to link his evidence to his claim at all. The Tulin model has 6 parts to it. It has a claim, ground, warrant, backing, qualifier, and rebuttal. You should all know this because we're in this class. And they're all elements of a persuasive argument. He states in his first secondary claim that manned portion of NASA has created a technique called freeze drying, and that this is used to create microwavable foods like TV dinners, like Hot Pockets and Eggos and whatnot that you eat every day. But in fact, there's a huge difference between freeze drying and frozen foods. Most foods that you eat every day are frozen foods. Freeze drying, the technique is different. First, it is pre-treated. Second, it goes into a freezing state where it must be below the triple point of the lowest temperature so that the solid and liquid phases of the material can coexist. This ensures that sublimation rather than melting will occur in the following steps. Third, it goes through a drying state where it dries up the ice so that water cannot be, it's not allowed to be there. And then the last drying stage is so that the water evaporates so that no bacteria can form. He uses false evidence to support his claim, and even then he doesn't link his evidence because he doesn't link his evidence with why freeze drying is beneficial to the general population of America. Also in his secondary claim that man exploration has contributed to the American education system, he states that USCA, which is the University of South Carolina Aiken graduate student intern program, allows students to fly out to space and study while using their equipment. I have attempted to look this up, and there's no evidence of that. In fact, in his outline, he doesn't even say USCA. He states UCSA, which is a whole different new school, and it's even an association. A lot of his evidence, according to the Toolman model, is it's not citable, it's not citable, credible, and he does not link it back to his claim. Due to the lack of, that is why I believe Williams' claim that man portion of NASA is beneficial to the general American public and world population at large. It's not an argument, rather an informational speech, because he doesn't follow key components in the property model, and he fails to make use of his evidence, which is known as the ground, and analysis to link it back to his claim, which is known as a warrant according to the Toolman model.
All right, well, you label the argument that you're presenting, and you've got a reasonably clear structure. It's heavy loaded toward the Brock reading model. You mentioned Toolman, and then you talk about some other issues in the later part of the speech. They probably need a little bit clearer structure for those points. I don't have a problem with your arguing the theory that there's not an argument here, and that makes a lot of sense if it feels like there's something missing. And I thought that you did a pretty good job pointing out some places where there was something lacking. I think, though, that you probably spend a little bit too much time kind of reviewing the whole model, and you need to kind of cut to the chase. Which elements of the model are you going to be applying to the advocate's arguments? I think that's probably all that you need to review, and then explain how the advocate's elements don't match up with the requirements necessary for it to be an argument. A couple of places it really seems that your argument is that there's an absence of evidence and therefore it can't be an argument. Well, I guess that's a definitional sort of thing, since an argument is a claim with some support for it, and your position is that there's no support for it, so it's not anything more than just a claim. It's not really an argument. I understand that. I do think that it's maybe you're putting all your eggs in one basket here, and you might want to make some additional arguments on the legitimacy of the inferences, even if there isn't any evidence being advanced by the advocate. The Toolman model, I think that's kind of where you're making most of those arguments. I thought the more specific issue that you talked about concerning his conflating freeze-dried with frozen foods was okay if that's the example that the advocate used and you were responding to it, but again, we need some source citation for your information on that particular point. The confusion over the program that people can be a part of, it seems unlikely to me that somebody would invent a program like this for the purpose of this speech, so there may be some confusion about what it is called. I think you want to be careful about saying liar, liar, pants on fire, and you may instead want to simply say, look, you shouldn't accept this as a premise of the argument if it can't be validated, and that's as far as you want to go. All right, thank you.